Nope, did not work. Come on, camera.
Yeah, so I'm live too.
Oh, you already live?
Yep.
Sick. I'll get mine working.
You're set. We got time. I have literally every image set in like a specific order. So this is the most organized I've ever had it. And I think this is how I'd like to do it in the future. Like, so we have literally everything set. It's gonna be awesome. We'll just kind of, instead of like small talk before too, like we'll just talk like this for now, but like we'll actually like have real small talk before we start, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not like...
Oh, that's cool, yeah. I get you.
Have it seem like so scripted, so like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
We'll just talk about like why we're taking 2 weeks off, you know?
That's it. Video capture device. Hold on, it's struggling. It's lagging. Alright, so I got it up on my stream.
Okay.
Now, if I have to share it with you, also video, it should just all work. But it doesn't. What the hell am I doing?
So what happens is you need to get like a second webcam. I guess that's the thing. I didn't know that, so.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Do you want... So how you've been using it on Discord then, huh?
Yeah, so basically I've been having you on Discord, and then I'll have my stream live, you know what I mean? So like that's why my camera's not in there. So I don't know, it's truthfully...
No worries. No worries. Figured this out. You think we have it down by now? Or I would at least. Let's see.
It's okay, dude. Things done.
Yeah, activate.
It's dumb that you can't like have your camera being pulled from two sources, I guess, but it's not dumb at the same time. Yeah, this is gonna be a good week, dude. There's some awesome stories to talk about. Like, I'm stoked for this week's recording. Like,
oh yeah, it's gonna be a good time. All right, let's see. I got mine on Discord. I'm about to start it up. Let's see. I'm just gonna put you that way so I don't lose you later. Yep.
Don't lose me.
Yeah. I'm gonna just put you over the side so we don't lose you.
You are some kind of yellow.
I'm yellow?
You're some kind of yellow.
I don't want to be yellow. What the hell?
It's like something they used to call each other like back in the West. Like, you yellow-bellied son of a bitch.
Oh, green. Interesting. Green.
What?
Pink is a 5.
What kind of lights you got going? I got purple just for the Vikings.
Look at that. That's wild. I don't know. I got this thing at Walmart.
It looks good, dude.
Not bad.
Actually,
Blue. Blue's cool. Blue's cool too. Red's evil. Alright. Where am I at? Go live. Since we're live on yours, I mean, you can start whenever you want.
Yep, I'm getting there here.
Let's see. I have to update the notification. Last noti for 2 weeks, I promise.
I'm getting there here.
Is there a falcon emoji?
A falcon emoji? Oh,
No, but there's
yeah, I don't know. It's not.
but there should be a football emote. I could do that. Football. NFL. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Do a sound check. You're in double.
Right now?
Oh, I must have heard it coming out for you.
Is it?
No, it's fine. I pulled up some graphs too that we can like go over. That were pretty cool, just about like putting together a team based off of like a dollar value. And like some stuff that was just kind of interesting. Like we can just we don't need to like upload it because the images I got uploaded don't have like the Discord background anymore. They actually have the it's like a clean cut image. And I figured out how to do that. You just have to open the original. But when you're talking about the Chargers, I got a few of them in the sports section for that, and then just like random stuff that's been going through the week. So that'll be like the closing stuff, you know. But then the stuff that I got in here is all pretty prevalent. With some NBA stuff you can close out with.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
And then just like before we get to the NBA stuff, there's like some, you know, like you have $15, like you can only make a team with this with $15. Who are you buying? You know what I mean? So.
All right, I feel it. Let's give it a shot.
So we can do that, and then I'll get set to here. And whenever you're ready, I'm ready. So.
Oh, you're already live. Yep.
Okay, you ready?
Start it up.
Let's do it. What's going on, guys? Welcome into NerdsSportsZone with Jon and Mike. We're going to be discussing quite a few subjects tonight, but in a fast manner because there wasn't a whole lot of news that was super prevalent, but there were some bigger issues over the last week and a half that we didn't get to talk about, such as retirements, signings, contracts, trades, and also Tim Tebow. So we got a few things to talk about here. So we're going to have some Tebow talk. We're going to be doing some talking Tebow. So if you're looking for a podcast about talking about fantasy sports, how to draft, anything like that. We're going to be doing a little bit of that tonight instead of focusing on just other subjects. We're going to be actually focusing on fantasy football player value and how you should maybe draft your teams and things to consider when you're drafting too. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring in my friend, my bud, and my co-host, John.
What's up? What's up, man?
What's up? So we were talking
We
before
made it.
We made it.
We made it. We made it happen.
We had some hiccups throughout the week, guys, so we apologize for that. It's just been crazy in terms of trying to get a lot of things done around the houses and spending time with our spouses and and whatnot. And we have just been busy guys and dudes being dudes, but we are here. We've made it. So with that being said, John, we were talking before we started here. You're taking 2 weeks off. You're taking 2 weeks off. So fill us and myself what's going on.
All right. So I made plans. Start like in January. We accepted a wedding invite. So I'm going to go to Colorado for a road trip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've never actually gone that far like inland, so it's gonna be a good time. Expecting it to be. I'll be in Denver, so and even in Denver, holler at your boy. Let's go.
Ooh, you're gonna be in Denver?
I'll be in Denver. Ugh, enemy territory. I know. Don't worry.
I know.
I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Are you gonna wear it? Are you gonna wear some of that LA stuff over there or what?
I might sneak one in. I know how they feel about me, and I know they know how I feel about them. I'm gonna let it be known. So we might have to go make a stop at the Mile High Stadium. I might be wearing some Charger gear though, just to take a picture.
Right in
But
front
yeah,
of the stadium.
I think it would be cool to check out Mile High. I like checking out stadiums, so if that's something I can look into, I definitely look into it because that's a lot of history over there too. Peyton
Yeah.
Manning won some rings over there.
Peyton Manning.
That's
Who's
it.
that guy?
Who's that guy? Peyton Manning.
No, I'm playing, man. I'm
Man.
playing.
And when he came over to the division, I knew it was trouble. Like, man, why? And that's how I feel about Patrick Mahomes now. Why?
You got to play some of the best quarterbacks twice a year.
I know, man. Phil couldn't get the job done. We love you, Phil.
What else is new? What else have you been up to in the past couple weeks?
New job, new stream time. I've really had to transition into more of an afternoon show. And uh, late nights. There's no more late nights for me. I'm able to do this with you tonight just because I'm leaving. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that like we're gonna go see my girlfriend's family, and I had like a concert get canceled probably about 2 months ago, or no, it's been way longer than that. It's been actually last year. I don't know why I said 2 months. It's been like a year since we were supposed to go to a concert together. It was Mercy Me, and I bought tickets to SeatGeek, so they refunded me my money back, but
nice.
not enough refund. It was a voucher that was good for like up to $200 for tickets on something. So didn't really know what I was going to use them for, and I've always had this rule of thumb that being a Boston Red Sox fan that I was going to actually use those. I was actually going to never go to a baseball game until it was at Fenway Park first. But we're going to be going to Target Field to watch the Twins play the Yankees. Still working on Heidi if she'll let me wear anything Red Sox into that stadium just to boo the Yankees or
Man,
I
it's
get
gonna be fun.
yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it. We got 3 tickets for the price of none. Actually, it was I paid $0 with that voucher. So I think we were just like right at the line of $200 of what the refund was gonna what the credit was gonna cover. So it was like $200, and then it was like $190 for the tickets, but we didn't pay any money for it at all. So super convenient, super nice. That's
Exciting.
that's what
That's
we're up
exciting.
to. So that's what's been going on my end for like 2 weeks, not being able to get a whole lot done. 'Cause we've been cleaning the house and getting rooms put back together. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on my end. We're going to Minnesota for the week though, and going to like Valley Fair and doing some of that stuff. So it'll be a really good time. I'm really excited to get out of town and go spend time with her family. It's funny, we're gonna go watch a professional baseball game, and we're gonna go watch
That's so cool.
my girlfriend's little league cousin her nephew's baseball game.
Okay, right on.
So
That's gonna be fun.
It'll be really fun.
Those are good times. Those are good times.
So with all that being said, let's just jump into some of these subjects because there's been some crazy stuff coming out over the last week and a half.
What about just the last few hours?
I mean, or just the last few hours. Because here's the thing. So I'm glad that this story came out today, right? But last night when I was prepping everything, it was like I had all these graphics like brought
Possible
in
scenarios and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll still pull them up. And
Why
be
not?
like,
Why not?
these were the possibilities, and this is where it's turned out. So pretty cool to actually finally have a confirmation as to where Mr. Julio Jones is going. So we're actually going to start on the subject line of Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
A lot of people have had a ton of doubt in this guy, and
They still do.
They still do, and a lot of people have hated that he's gotten signed to Jacksonville Jaguars with his head coach Urban Meyer. There's been some things being said about him that I think are slightly unfair. If you follow on SportsMe app, I talked about it a little bit and started a battle on that app about that. And I don't agree with really any of it, because here's the thing. When they showed the contract that he signed like a 1-year contract that's like less than $1 million. In the sports world, that's not a whole lot of money on a contract. And
Yeah, he's like on a minimum or something, right?
Yeah, it's like no guaranteed money. He still has to fight to make the team. And here's the thing: is he was told to make this move 8 years ago, is what I said in my SportsMe. It's like a TikTok sports app. What I said in my SportsMe video or battle was that Tim Tebow is switching positions. He's not taking anybody else's position, and specifically what people were saying was, how come Colin Kaepernick doesn't get a second chance? That's not even what's going on here. He's switching positions to tight end, and he was told to do this because his throwing motion as a quarterback in the NFL just didn't really work. So, with further ado, this is your new Tim Tebow, and this is absolutely insane. Here, you can have the pad holder's butt right next to your nose, or I can put it in between us.
See, I'll pull it up.
So Tim Tebow, per BR Gridiron, they posted this, and it is a picture of Tim Tebow at the Jacksonville Jaguars practice. And for those of you who don't know, he has been absolutely crushing it at these OTAs. He looks a little, it's OTAs, it's practice. He looks like he's got some form to work on from the videos that I watched when I was watching Pat McAfee one day talk about it. I was watching a few other outlets talk about it.
He's jacked, though.
He's jacked. He's huge. I mean, he doesn't even look like he used to. And I think what a lot of people have said about Tim Tebow is that
Girls for Jesus, huh? Girls for Jesus.
What I loved what
Pat
McAfee had to say about it was that Tim Tebow has not just been lifting Bibles.
I was not out there lifting Bibles, man.
I was laughing so hard when I was at work watching that, because it was the funniest thing. And it's true though, because you look at the credit and the work this guy has put in to make the weight that he's at. And I think in every person there is a little bit of I want this guy to do well at this position now, because everyone has had nothing but good things to say about him that's been in the room. So I want to hear what you have to think about it first. Like, what do you think of Tim Tebow's transformation from a quarterback to a tight end in the last 8 years?
A little late, but we'll see what he's still got left. I believe in his work ethic. I do believe in his work ethic. He's gonna give it his all. I hope he does get a spot, man. And I hope to see him play. I hope to see him in the touchdown. I'm rooting for him. I'm a Tim Tebow fan.
See,
let's go.
See, I like that, because a lot of people have said things that he's just getting a shot because of his name. But that's not what Tim Tebow's about. If anyone that knows this, I shared a meme just on my personal Facebook account that said Tim Tebow sure causes a lot of ruckus for a guy that he praises Jesus. He puts together a school dance for handicapped or disability children, and it's not word for word. I can't get it right because I can't remember. It was a week ago that I looked at it, but it's all good things that Tim Tebow does, and he's a great role model for a lot of people and a lot of kids. So I'm excited to see him back in the NFL because of that reason too. But I ultimately really do want to see this guy actually compete and do well at this position, because he clearly is putting in position. He's clearly putting in the work to make it work at this position. Chewy.
If I'm not mistaken, I was listening to Pat talk about it too, and he goes, "Imagine being the guy getting put on your butt by Tim Tebow. You don't want to be that guy."
Oh yeah, it was Pat McAfee's guest that day. He said you just got laid out by a quarterback.
You just got laid out by a quarterback. Come on, man. That's mean.
That's a little mean. I mean, I'll give a sheesh for that.
Sheesh.
But
I mean, watch. Like, you know what? If he's there, like my last round, I bet you he won't. But if he's there last round in fantasy, I'd take a shot on him.
You take a
Why
shot
not?
on him, yeah.
If he makes that team, I'll take a shot on him.
I actually think he might, like, he's got. So here's the thing we didn't get to talk about yet was that he's doing really well in practices, and I know it's practice and it's like game time situation is so different than what you're going to be doing from practice to an NFL game all the time, and especially OTAs. Sorry, hang on a second. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down.
Oh, let's see. Tim Tebow, Jacksonville.
So
Or tonight?
tomorrow.
So you're getting up at 5:30?
Yes, tomorrow.
Getting up at 5.
Yeah, we're getting up at 5. So, sorry about that. So, here's what we haven't gotten to talk about with Tim Tebow is that he has been doing really well at OTAs and practices and just overall events of like how well he's doing. He's caught a couple touchdown passes, one being from Gardner Minshew and one being from Trevor Lawrence. So leading into what's going on here, there's been a lot of rumblings that Tim Tebow might be used as like a gadget type player, like Taysom Hill from the Saints. So that's always a possibility. Because Tim Tebow, we've all seen him as a Bronco. He can run. He knows how to do the sneaks. He did it all the time in college with Urban Meyer, and he's back with the same
Tebow.
coach.
I'm watching his highlights right now.
So here's what we haven't got to talk about is that the impact that he has on the rest of the team. And it seems like no one has a single problem with him being there. Like
no, just another guy. Yeah, he blends right in.
So Trevor Lawrence was asked about Tim Tebow throughout the last week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Chewy, stop.
Okay.
Lay down.
Hands.
So Trevor Lawrence says that Tebow looks great so far. No one is going to work harder than him. Those are the kind of guys that you want in your locker room. And this is the same thing that we heard about Tim Tebow every time that he was addressed in the media going into his first stint in the NFL. People said he was one of the hardest workers in the room. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's all the same talent. You know, I'm not going to say that's the talent level of like what he has, because maybe like work ethic doesn't obviously always equal to your level of talent, but the guy is still a positive entity to bring into the environment. Sorry, I lost my focus.
Sorry, I was watching like, oh, Minshew's out of a job, man. Just watching his highlights.
So the thing with it is that, you know, he might not make this roster. That's very possible. Like he might not make it. But he's doing more than any of us have ever done, and that's try to get on the Jacksonville Jaguars. He needs to make the team. Like nothing's a guarantee. Like I think him. Okay, let's start with this. Do you think Tim Tebow will make the team by the NFL season?
Yeah.
You do. How come?
Yeah, there's more than just his gameplay, but the ticket sales for Jacksonville. Look at it. Look at you were talking about jersey sales. Who's number 2?
As of last week.
I don't know.
That's perfect. You segued me.
What?
You segued me into.
That's just what I do.
Something.
Come on now.
That's just what you do.
This is what we do.
So the top selling jersey. This was the list.
That was natural, ladies and gents. Natural segue.
The top.
I set him up and he landed the home run.
The top selling jerseys per Fox on this graphic that they made was Tim Tebow in the number 1 and 2 spots.
Look, he's selling his own quarterback.
Number 3 was Justin Fields, and 4 was Justin Fields, and 5 was Justin Fields. So that's kind of crazy that Justin Fields is actually kind of hopping right now on the NFL shop.
And Chicago's buying him, huh?
That's right. They're buying in. Sheesh. Tom Brady is sitting in at the 6th spot. No surprise.
Look at that.
I'm surprised he's honestly not higher.
Just feels got him beat. Tim Tebow's got him beat.
Let's see here. Number 22 for the Steelers.
Herbert! Is that a Herbert?
Justin Herbert is in the 8th spot. Patrick Mahomes is sitting in 9. We got the alternative Super Bowl jersey sitting
Brad's selling the Chiefs
at 12 for Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers is at number 10. You know, you got to get those babies discounted before he leaves Green Bay.
Oh, wow. You right.
You got to get those jerseys discounted before he leaves Green Bay.
Yeah.
More on that. But it's just, there's a whole lot of these guys that were kind of unexpected. So, but yeah, Tim Tebow is sitting in the top spot. Trevor Lawrence is in 14th, and Joe Burrow is in 15th. Joe Burrow showed up to OTAs, by the way. He was about 85% healthy, is where he's at right now, and he was interviewed about it, and he said that my team needs to see me on the field with them, even if it's just even if it's just light work. So, good for Trevor Lawrence for Joe Burrow getting out on the field. But I was really intrigued by everything that was going on in terms of Tim Tebow this last week, because there's the rumblings haven't stopped about him, but what people haven't heard is how well he's been doing at OTAs, catching the touchdown passes, getting in the mix of things, transitioning to tight end correctly. His trainers have said that he's working his tail off. And then, not to mention, I don't think he's dropped any passes going into OTAs, according to all the reports. He has not dropped any passes, per The Athletic, per Pro Football Focus, Gridiron. Tim Tebow has not dropped any passes in practice. So
Tim Tebow has not dropped any. See that?
That's crazy. And so I want to see what he has. I think he'll make the roster. I think they'll find a way to use him that's going to be effective for the team. Maybe the first time we'll see, and I want to see what you think on this too, is maybe we'll actually see a tight end play quarterback, tight end, and a halfback or a fullback or a running back all in the same season and score somehow. Yeah,
I definitely, we saw with Taysom Hill, man, they could do it all. He's going to be another jackknife player, utility knife. Wherever he's needed, he's going to perform.
He's a team guy.
He's someone that can get it done too. You ask him to run that ball, he's gonna run that ball, and he's an all-in kind of dude. He's whatever the team needs. I'm here for the team. If you ask him to kick, he would probably attempt to kick.
Yeah. If you ask that man to go get you some water, he might get you some water. That might happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and God bless you afterwards. Hit you with one of those.
You'd be baptized by that water.
Yes. For 1 Corinthians 20, whatever. You're gonna know about it after. He's gonna tell you about it. God bless that water that he gave him.
Well, my favorite verse is Jeremiah 29:11, and it's that. And not to get religious or anything, but it's that.
No, go ahead, drop him with knowledge.
It is. I have it tattooed on my back, and what it means is, it says, "Know the plans I have for you. Plans to give you hope in the future. Plans not to harm you. Plans for you to prosper." And you know what? Tim Tebow is prospering in these situations that he's getting there. I think we're gonna get some Tebow time. I think that he's gonna make the roster. And
go ahead, ask Pittsburgh. They know about him.
Ask Pittsburgh.
Ask Pittsburgh. They'll tell you about him.
But the final thing I wanted to point out too was, out of his draft class, I still think this stands, that Tim Tebow was the only quarterback out of his entire draft class to have a winning record or an even record. I think he was 8-8 when they made the playoffs, and he won a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was one of the only quarterbacks sitting in that draft that actually had a winning record. So
he went 25. No one had hopes for him. Let's see.
Yeah.
Who
I'm
came
I'm
out
a
of that
believer.
class?
I'm a believer. I'm gonna be buying a Tebow jersey. I don't have one yet, but I'm gonna be getting one. Like, I already have one in the Eagles jersey. I have one in the Jets.
Give me a reason to bet a Tim Tebow jersey on the line. I'm no all day. Yeah, I'll bet that.
I'd buy one.
Let's see.
I would buy one in a
What
heartbeat. What are you looking for?
GB class of what? 2010?
He had to be close to that.
Yeah. Stephen McGee was someone above him, huh? I don't even know who that is. Jimmy Clausen. Are you serious? What?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of older names that you'll recognize on that list that just never went
No
anywhere.
way.
He's the only guy, but yet he still gets trashed on.
I think this is a terrible link. This is terrible. Whatever your sources are, it's trash.
I'm in for Tebow time. That's all. That's all I have to
Go
say.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Look, I'm gonna keep looking it up. I just want to see it. But go ahead. You can move on.
So, in other news in the NFL this week, with Tebow coming back, and we'll just cover this right away because it's prevalent. Tim Tebow has sparked a hunger and some other retired players that think they can come back and still play. One in particular that we're going to talk about is Brandon Jacobs. Brandon Jacobs
Oh,
has been talking about wanting. Oops. If I can.
Gerald McCoy was in that class, and Ndamukong Suh, Sam Bradford. That's crazy. Joe Hayden. That's crazy. Earl
There's
Thomas.
a lot of people in that draft class.
Demarius Thomas. They were both 22, and then at 25 they pulled. Wow, good job, Denver. They got a 1-2 combo.
Yeah, I honestly, one thought I never got off my chest to anybody was that if Peyton Manning would have been someone that could have mentored him instead of just getting rid of Tebow,
Could have been legendary.
could have been legendary. You
Could
could
have been
have
legendary.
you could
Who
have had
knows?
you could have had your next 1-2 punch at quarterbacks of like leading the next guy in.
Hold the phone. Think about this. Rob Gronkowski was in that same draft class.
Rob Gronkowski was in the same draft class, huh?
Yes, he went second round, number 42. He could have gone so. Look at everyone that got picked up ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Think about that. Let me just look. They thought Cincinnati, Jermaine Gresham, tight end, first round. Wow. Rob Gronkowski was right there. Think about that. Chargers passed up on that. We picked up Ryan Matthews. Good job, Chargers.
That was a good pick.
Look at that.
That was a good pick.
God, soft. He was soft. He could never be a franchise running back.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, if it didn't work out,
Own
it
his
didn't
jersey.
work
Let me
out. Dang, all right, okay. I see.
You can't replace. He had to replace LT though. Think about that. That's tough.
It's big shoes to fill, man.
There's no way. There was no way. Okay, let's talk about Brandon Jacobs. Great running back. What are you talking about coming back to the NFL?
So Brandon Jacobs,
He's fit.
former Giants running back, Brandon Jacobs says he's attempting an NFL comeback at 38 years old. He hasn't played since 2013. Jacobs wants to play at defensive end. I don't know if he's serious about this or if he's like
I think he's trolling.
like trolling that Tebow came back after 8 years.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that might be more of what it is. But he said, I'm really serious about I'm really serious about coming back as a defensive end. I can still run, and there's no way Tim Tebow is a better athlete than I am. I just think that's it. If I can't cut it, man, just give me one chance. That's all. And he posted a picture of himself on his Twitter of him just pretty shredded. Now, here's my argument for that with Brandon Jacobs is running backs take a lot more hits over the course of their career. It's been a long time since that man has played and retired. You got to think about how many plays a running back actually gets hit. It's probably almost every play of an offensive drive, whether they're running the ball or whether they're blocking for their quarterback or a wide receiver on a jet sweep. Like they're blocking these big dudes. So they take hits all the time, and the average age of a running back that retires in the NFL, which has changed a little bit now, is probably your like early to mid 30s, because their body starts to shut down faster because they take so many hits. Coming back as a defensive end, I'm not really sure if that'd be possible, because
Please.
and maybe it is because you're hitting somebody. You're on the opposite spectrum of hitting somebody, but when you hit someone, you also exert yourself too. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say he can't. Not gonna say he can't, because he could probably do it more than that. Not probably. He can do it more than I ever could. Like, and he could probably hit a lot harder than I ever could. But
damn, this is a bold statement. But myself 2 years ago, I could have blocked him. I'll block him. You all right? You all right?
I've always said when we play
Peek me, out of peek me, I could have blocked him. You're all size. There's nah, dude. You're done.
Wow, that's pretty bold, man.
No way, dude. This guy's gonna come in. Okay, let's be real. Me right now, he's wiping the floor with me. I have no aggression, no testosterone. I'm not doing anything against him. Like, go ahead. You want the quarterback? He's right there. I have no beef with you.
Have him. He's yours.
Me in high school, I feel like maybe, but let's go. These young left tackles, right tackles going up against, it's just the age. I think they're gonna manhandle him.
I don't think it'll happen. I'd like to see him like work out and see if he can make it. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh, his workouts are sick. I respect him as a running back for the New York Giants. He was hard nosed, running down your throat. He wasn't gonna run around. He was gonna run through you.
Yep.
And I highlight hell of a running back. One of my favorites. I would trade for him in Madden just to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Jacobs, welcome to enjoy the NFL from the sofa of your living room. Along with us. Please don't go back. Just leave it there.
Don't get hurt.
You know,
Don't
you
get
had a good
hurt.
career. Don't be that guy who bit off more than he could chew. But I think Tim, for his demand, I think he can do it.
I like it.
They're young. He's younger. He's got to be younger.
So while we're talking of greatness, such as Brandon Jacobs and what he did at the running back position, let's kind of venture forward into some retirement talk and talk about some more greatness that we've seen in the NFL. And unfortunately, this greatness is coming to an end as he is retiring now. And that is the one and only Adam Vinatieri. The foot. Dude, he's so, like, one of the greatest kickers of all time in the NFL, if not one of the best, if not the best. Adam Vinatieri has announced retirement. He had a 24-year career, 10 years with the New England Patriots, 14 with the Indianapolis Colts. He has won 4 Super Bowls. He was a 3-time All-Pro, and he was considered to be the NFL's all-time field goal leader. And when he made his debut back in 1996 in the NFL in his rookie season, the Cardinals played in the NFC East at the time. The Ravens played their first season in the NFL. Brett Favre won an MVP, and Sam Darnold was not even born yet. So You couldn't even argue as if Sam Darnold has ever had a fair chance in the New York Jets, because he wasn't even born. He was a thought. So that's crazy. So with that being said about Adam Vinatieri, I'll have you read off some stats here in just 2 shakes. I'll pull this next graphic up, and I want you to read some of this here. So go ahead, John. You can take over on this.
All right, let's see. 22 Hall of Famers were drafted and shrined since Adam's first season. Jonathan Ogden, thank you. Marvin Harrison, Ray Lewis, Brian Dawkins, Terrell Owens, Orlando Pace, Walter Jones, Tony Gonzalez, Jason Taylor, Randy Moss, Champ Bailey, Brian Urlacher, LaDainian Tomlinson, this is crazy, Ed Reed, Kurt Warner, Edgar James, Troy Polamalu,
the man,
Steve Hutchinson,
Skull Vikes.
Yeah. Peyton Manning, Charles Woodson, Calvin Johnson, Alan Faneca. Look at that.
That's a list. Like 22 Hall of Famers were drafted and enshrined in the Hall of Fame since Adam Vinatieri's first season. And you can guarantee that this man's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And the final... First ballot, easy. And then the other thing with him is that this is like his career stats. This is absolutely insane. And like, what a beautiful graphic that was made.
The most points scored. Yes. Most field goals made, 599. Damn, it would have been nice to get number 6, right?
That wouldn't be, yeah.
Yeah, just come back for one game, dude, and just retire. That's cool. Get it. Let's see. Most postseason field goals, most field goal attempts. Wow, look at that ratio though. 715 attempts and 599 made. 600 made. That's incredible.
Not too shabby.
That's incredible. Most points per season. That
is a career that you can hang your hat, your helmet, your shoes, your gloves, whatever Adam Vinatieri is gonna hang on those. He's hands down the best kicker to ever touch the game. So congratulations, Adam Vinatieri. As a football fan, our entire lives, we've gotten to see you do a lot of great things on the football field, and you've made it that much more entertaining or depressing, depending on if you knocked our team out of the playoffs. All of the above. So congratulations to Adam Vinatieri. With that being said, we're talking about the greatest to ever play, right?
Yeah.
So let's get into one of the quarterbacks in the game currently who is considered to be one of the best to ever play, which is Aaron Rodgers. And he is one of the best to ever play. So
I think so.
Aaron Rodgers' future right now in Green Bay is still up in arms. They're still saying they're not going to trade him. Some of the front office people are getting pretty upset with Aaron, but they're saying that he's dividing the fan base. I saw that a couple days ago through I think I follow most of the I think I try to follow all 32 teams and what's going on with their teams and their positions, so we can be well versed in everything we're talking about. So Green Bay has been talking a lot about Aaron and just how they're pretty upset with him. They're upset that he's dividing the fan base. We talked about it. We talked about it the last episode. In terms of, is this going to start impacting the team? And it already has. Because Jordan Love has not had his 5 top starting wide receivers showing up to OTAs because Aaron Rodgers is not there. And this is the first year that Aaron Rodgers has not shown up to OTAs.
Man.
So this is getting more real now for the team, and it's also not just dividing the players, it's dividing the fan base, and a lot of people are starting to get really upset. So a little bit more on Aaron Rodgers. We won't have to sit on it because this is kind of a developing story every week that you just play catch up on. Aaron Rodgers was talked about on Colin Cowherd's show, and he was interviewing Alex Smith. And this is kind of an interesting take because we like Alex Smith on this show. And Alex Smith said, it's absolutely inexcusable how the Packers got to this point with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's the fact that they drafted Jordan Love. You were on the doorstep of a Super Bowl and don't communicate that. Quoted by Alex Smith. And I watched this interview, and it was actually really interesting to hear this coming from him because he played quarterback in the NFL, and he was a great quarterback. Yeah. He was a great quarterback in the league. And so I'll collect my thoughts, but I want to hear what you have to think about. What Alex Smith had to say about Aaron Rodgers in the Packers. What do you
it's
think?
I agree with Alex Smith. You were on the doorstep of the Super Bowl and you don't communicate that. Do you think he's referring to what? Getting him help? You went and got Jordan Love. Is that what he's pretty much saying?
Right. I think he's implying, that they drafted a quarterback instead of going out and getting a wide receiver.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, it's cool. Yeah, go ahead, grab Jordan Love. But I feel, inside, I feel disrespected. You could have got something else, but this is what you wanted to go address. You give me some help, dude. You're not gonna do anything in the season. Aaron Rodgers is great. Devontae is great. There's just a few missing pieces, and they could really be great. you know it firsthand. You know, it's. You mean you must love to see. You gotta love it. You love to see it, but you hate to see it at the same time. You know, he's like one, two pieces away. He
Right.
should, you know, and he's solid. And if you ask any quarterback in the league, it's pretty unanimous that they all think Aaron Rodgers has the most talent as a quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue that like ever at all. I think the thing with Aaron Rodgers is he's so good, and like a lot of people will argue the point to say that he's been lucky on some of these like Hail Mary throws and situations that have happened, which is not fair because Aaron Rodgers has done a lot for the Green Bay Packers in 16 years. No Packer has ever made it 17 years at the quarterback position. So what's kind of frustrating to hear is when people is even when Vikings fans will say, "Well, he's not that good." Well, let me tell you, as a Vikings fan, he is that good. Like Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. Um,
Bad man.
what I don't like about this whole situation is, I guess, coming from someone who loves to watch sports, and I work in the medical field, and to see like an athlete that has 2 years left on his contract. I think they were saying like every media outlet source was saying that it would cost Aaron Rodgers about $6.8 million to basically terminate his contract with Green Bay at this point in time. Um, which
Not
isn't
a lot.
which isn't a ton of money, but it means he's not going to get paid that $23 million that he's slated for this next season. So there's a lot on the line in a sense of that, but I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. He'll be signed somewhere by the season starts. I truly believe that.
Sucks. He only has one ring. Think about that.
And we talked about that last week. We talked about that last week, actually, where Tom Brady and the Patriots in 15, 16 years did not draft a wide receiver in the first round, and Tom Brady won 5 Super Bowls. The same thing has happened with Aaron Rodgers, except he's won one Super Bowl and been through a few head coaches now.
I don't know,
Or
man.
a couple head coaches, sorry. That's my correction.
Oh
Um,
man.
so that's what Alex Smith had to say on it. More on Aaron Rodgers, though. There's not much left to talk about with him.
Yeah.
But Patrick Mahomes was asked this week about his thoughts on Aaron Rodgers possibly coming into the same division. Whoops.
Go ahead. I want to
Um,
hear this.
so
What did Patty have to say?
so our beloved Patrick Mahomes had to say, obviously it'd be
Or,
awesome. He's a heck of a football player. If he came to the AFC West, should I just like, obviously it'd be awesome. He's a heck of a
yeah,
football
come.
player. If he came to the AFC West, it would make it a little tougher for us, but we're up to the challenge. That's probably a terrible impression, and I apologize to everyone that just listened
Trash.
to that. um, he
Wow. Yeah.
in all seriousness, he said, obviously it'd be awesome. He's a heck of a football player. If he came to the AFC West, it would make it a little tougher for us, but we're up to the challenge, which I think is huge because Patrick Mahomes this past week has also been talking to the media about how his new goal is to go 20-0 in this upcoming season, since there's going to be more
20
games.
and 0.
Yep.
No
20-0.
way.
That's
No
what
way.
that's what he's thinking. So
Yeah.
I mean, but if anybody can do it, it's probably the Chiefs because they have the Great Wall of Kansas City. They got some excellent speed on their team at wide receiver, and Mahomes obviously at quarterback. Like it's not out of line to think that the Chiefs could do it. Like it'd be a lot of work, but they could do it.
Who's gonna step on their toes? The Chargers.
The
That's
charge
it.
the Chargers
All
are gonna
day.
upset them. I agree.
That's it. I just keep my fingers crossed every day and we just don't get hurt.
That's all you can do. Sometimes you
That's
just
all we
can't
can
open your hands. So, and this is another graphic that I just kind of grabbed to look at was, so this is about the Packers as a team, as of late. They've had a top 3 wide receiver. They've had a top 10 tight end in Robert Tonyan and Devontae Adams. They've had a top 10 running back in Aaron Jones. They've had a top 2 offensive line, improved defense, an insanely good head coach in Matt LaFleur. I think he has one of the best. I think he has the best head coaching start in the NFL history ever. And they quoted they had Gordon Ramsay at the bottom saying not good enough, and they said that Aaron Rodgers said it. He really didn't say that, but um, it's kind of really interesting to think about this because you look at the talent that he's had around him, and it kind of like, as just as a football fan, it kind of pulls you back into the spectrum of, well, maybe there's more than just like not drafting a wide receiver in the first round. Like you look at these stat lines, even though it's just a meme, but they're all true. They're all facts.
Mm-hmm.
I fact checked all of them before we started, and it's crazy to think that like, you know, Rodgers has only won one Super Bowl, and he's had a few teams like this. So I'm not sitting here saying that Aaron Rodgers is the problem. I don't know what the problem is in Green Bay, and I have no room to talk as a Vikings fan because my team hasn't really done jack squat to get where the Packers have the past couple of years. So, and it disgusts me, but that's just the way it is. But it's something to think about as a football fan. Well, how come Aaron Rodgers can't seem to get this team to a Super Bowl when they have all this talent? Like, what do you think when you see this? Like, what goes through your head when you see these types of things?
Now that makes me kind of think, give them a wide receiver. Maybe for some reason they don't get the job done. You know what? The thing with the Packers is they can never be consistent. That's my opinion on the Packers, is that they're never a consistent team. 1 week, they suffer in one area. If they lose, like it's usually the defense didn't show up. Nothing was happening on offense.
Right.
Running backs couldn't get started. I don't know, but that's always the story, and that's how teams lose. I don't think they're a bad team. They're just, when the time comes to show up, you fail to show up. I don't think it's necessarily Aaron Rodgers' fault, but somewhere along the lines, there's a weakness.
I agree.
Someone caves in.
I think that like it's like a view that I kind of have on it, and this is just me, because I've seen it like with my own team in the Vikings, is your head coach. Like we talked about how Matt LaFleur has had the best head coaching start in NFL history, but he's now been to the NFC Championship 2 years in a row, and they haven't closed the deal and made it to the Super Bowl. Now, if this starts to happen again, I'd be a little concerned. Where I'm very concerned with the Vikings with Mike Zimmer at head coach when we've made it to the playoffs, but we've never made a deep run other than one time with Case Keenum, which was kind of a fluke, if I'll be completely honest, with the Minnesota Miracle. So
I guy got paid after that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. And, I mean, it just shows you, like, why the Vikings didn't sign Case Keenum to keep him around, because they knew that he wasn't the guy. Mike Zimmer was very frank about Case Keenum and said, well, which Case Keenum are you going to get? You know what I mean? Are you going to get
what Packers team are you going to get today?
Right. So that's why they didn't sign him to a big contract. And I still think that was the right choice, but, like, what bothers me the most about Mike Zimmer sometimes is that I think he struggles to allow other, and I do love Mike Zimmer. I think he's a great defensive-minded coach. What I think he struggles with is allowing to have offensive coordinators have this free mind of theirs to, like, make a creative scheme, and it might not be, like, old school enough or, like, old school football, which people are used to, You
got to be innovative. You got to be flexible.
You have to be, and that's why the Chiefs and all these other teams are so successful, because you see that they're changing things up and they're doing things different, and it throws teams off. It throws your defense off.
They make risky plays, but they're calculated.
Right.
They know what their capabilities are, and they know who they are and what they're capable of, so they let it ride.
Right. So, I mean, I'm wondering if at some point, like, if they have a pretty good run, if the Packers fans are going to start questioning Matt LaFleur's ability as a head coach to really kind of wrap this baby up in a package and put a bow on it to go get them a Super Bowl, because they've gotten their 2 years in a row in the NFC Championship and they haven't closed the deal. So it's just something. It's just food for thought. Like that's kind of what I thought was interesting about that. So,
Good observation. I did see now it makes you put in perspective.
so that being said, the Packers did not try to go up for bat for one very specific player, and that was Julio Jones. So let's just go right into the Julio Jones talk that we're both really excited for. So
There it is.
to start things off, there was a lot of rumblings that the Seattle Seahawks were talking about getting Julio Jones, but then they kind of got jumped out. They got jumped out of the talks of it. I mean, you're looking at a crazy wide receiver core.
Wow, imagine that.
That'd be, I mean, Tyler Lockett, Julio Jones, and Metcalf.
Then
That's crazy.
There would be a weakness. It's their front line, and the running game would still be weak.
So
Chris Carson's great, but I don't think he can. He's not durable enough to be a bell cow.
So we move on from the Seahawks, right? Seahawks are out pretty quick. Those were just rumors. So going into the next team, we had the talks of we had talks and rumblings of the Baltimore Ravens looking to make a trade for Julio Jones. He looked pretty good in that purple. He looked pretty good in that purple.
Trash. Get that off of him.
Did you get it off him? So
Get that off of him.
There wasn't much weight to this at all.
He said he wants a quarterback with an arm. He's not going to Baltimore.
Yeah, he wanted a quarterback with a big arm. So then we go.
I'm not gonna spoil it. Go ahead.
Then we go. You know what? He might go to the Chiefs. And Travis Kelce was interviewed, and he said, "I'll tell you what, I'm intrigued. That's a game changer. Could you imagine playing the Chiefs with the Great Wall of Kansas City, that running back core, that tight end that you got, that quarterback, and now you got Julio Jones and Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins Jr. and McCole Hardman. You got all these guys that are just darn near impossible to stop already when they're healthy." And you add Julio Jones to that receiving core.
That's when you get a bully like Ndamukong Suh on defense, and he used to say, "Take his head off." That's the only shot you're gonna get.
I mean, the Buccaneers did it.
Nasty.
The Buccaneers did it last year in the Super Bowl.
That's it. Ndamukong Suh bully mode. You get bullies on defense. Like, oh, dude, that team would be nasty though.
So I got really excited about this. I was like, all right. Like, I'd be cool with that if we went to the Chiefs because I like watching the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, right? Nope, it didn't happen.
Thank God.
It's off the board, thank God. So then we get an interesting one I wanted to hear what you thought about is...
Come on now.
Me and you have talked about how the Chargers never really go out and spend the money to get some big names.
We don't.
But Brad Spielberg on Julio Jones via Pro Football Focus said the Chargers provide the best opportunity for Julio to get paid and put up big numbers in a high-powered offense with Justin Herbert. I added that with Justin Herbert part. That's kind of crazy to think about because Herbert's got a big arm. He's a young quarterback coming off of a good end to his season. He played really well. In all the games that he started in, he played against some of the toughest competition in the league at quarterback, and some really great defenses. And they were in most of the games that they played in, and they had a high opportunity to win some of those games.
Imagine.
So you have Keenan Allen cross up with Julio Jones. That's pretty scary, actually. And then you had that running back core with Austin Eckler and company. That could have been fire, right?
Wow. What would you imagine that?
What would you have done if they would have signed?
I would have texted my buddy, my best friend is a Chargers fan, like, yo, you see what we did today? You see what we did today? Oh man, imagine that. Like, it's this. Okay, I'm not mad at my team. Like, it throw off the vibe, you know. Like, no, I don't. We didn't need him. I would have been thrilled to have him, but we didn't need to go get him. Yeah. I think we're gonna make do with what we got. We're gonna trust in it's our head coach's first year. You know, if he wanted to be that guy, he would have done it, you know. But
Right.
I think his team is his mentality is he's going to work with what he's got, see, evaluate how his first draft class went, and see where he needs to improve. I mean, offensively, we were putting up numbers, we were competing. It was the defense that we needed to work on.
Right.
Too loose. Offensively, we can keep up with the best of them, but defense needs to get addressed in the offseason. And I don't feel like, you know, if he was there, the more the merrier. But then that's another mouth to feed. But good mentorship for our young team. We have such a young team.
You guys do, and a very bright future at that.
I hope so.
So that didn't happen, unfortunately, though.
Yeah.
So
Wah, wah, wah.
oh well, I got you on that. I got you on that.
There
So
you go.
the Chargers don't sign Julio. What a shame, right? What a shame. So
What a shame.
we go into today, and I'm sitting at work, and I'm getting lit up from you, from a couple of my other friends, my friend who's an Atlanta Falcons fan. I watched the Super Bowl 28-3 blow and lead with him. I thought he was gonna cry. I messaged him. I thought he was gonna cry today. So I'm sitting at work, and I didn't believe it at first, but officially, Julio Jones is traded
To the
per
Titans.
Adam Schefter to the
Oh, my bad.
to the Tennessee Titans. The
Or
Falcons are going to get a 2022 second round pick and a 2023 fourth round pick for Julio Jones and a sixth round pick in 2023. The trade is now official. So this is insane because what a lot of people kind of forgot about was the how good the Titans have been over the past couple of years, and like they've had kind of like a hit or miss duo between AJ Brown and Corey Davis. They lost Corey Davis, but now they have AJ Brown and Julio Jones. This is gonna be insane.
and Derrick Henry.
And Derrick Henry.
But who's their tight end?
It was Johnny Smith, not anymore though. He's gone.
Ooh, now you got a weakness. You could take away those linebackers and stack them up on the wide receivers. Play
You
that
could.
spy.
You
Oh, here we
could.
go.
I mean, this is gonna get interesting because, like, you look at
Look at me. I should be
everything.
coach.
You look at everything that came with this. They like you had a really great transition to that.
That core.
The
Tannehill though, did I see any action from like long bombs? Is he a bomb thrower?
I think he has the arm to do it, but I think he's more of a proficient thrower in terms of like making just really tough throws in really tough situations. I mean, they've been in the playoffs the last 2 years, and their success shows that this is a good team. And it
Who are
looks
you
like
taking? Who you
go,
taking?
go for it, go for it. Who am I taking and what?
Who you taking out of those two wide receivers first?
Dude, I've been thinking about this all day, and to be straight up honest with you, I don't know if I'm really taking either one. I don't think you can go wrong with either one. I don't know if I'm going to be so much going for Julio or AJ Brown out of this group. I'm going for Ryan Tannehill.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if he's going to be moving the ball to both of these guys, these deep threats that are fast,
Someone's got to be open.
someone's going to be open. And it's going to be a tight end. You got a very like pass catch heavy running back in Derrick Henry, who's also just a monster. I feel like
Does that affect Derrick Henry?
oh yeah, I feel like it does. I feel like it
And if
like
it,
all these teams are going to be so worried about the pass game now that the doors are going to open wide for Derrick Henry.
it's gonna free him up a little bit, huh?
Yep.
Loosen up the coverage up front.
Yeah.
Okay, I see you. So that bumps this draft value up higher.
Yep. So this is going to be crazy. So we'll get into the draft value of all this in just a minute here, because we're getting pretty close to the end here actually. So while we're talking about offenses still, this is what was considered to be the top 10 offenses. So and this was before the Julio trade. The number one offense in the league is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 2 is Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3 is Green Bay. Number 4 is Dallas. Number 5 is Buffalo Bills. 6 is Atlanta. 7 is Cleveland Browns. 8 is the Minnesota Vikings. And 9 is Arizona. And 10 is the Tennessee Titans.
Y'all give so much hope to ATL, huh?
I guess. I didn't think that either, but you got to think that now Matt Ryan's going to be able to feed Calvin Ridley a lot more at wide receiver because he's not going to have. He's so used to throwing to Julio that I feel like maybe some of those attempts were a little bit forced just to try and get him the ball.
Okay, I like that.
We'll see what kind of.
And then and then their new tight end.
Yep, their new tight end, but this came out this week before the this trade, so I would say you bump up the Tennessee Titans over Arizona, and I think you can even put the Falcons in the 10th spot. They just lost a big piece.
I think the Falcons' huge weakness is they don't have a run game.
Yeah,
you got Todd Gurley, and I'm comfortable saying that he's not your bell cow.
No,
he can't be.
No, I think his knee injuries are really like holding him back for most of his career now, which is sad because Todd Gurley was incredible when he was healthy.
I like your squad. It's pretty balanced right now. Pretty good offense. You can alleviate the pressure, take some off Dalvin Cook. You can spread the ball out.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson.
I'm really excited.
I'm feeling.
We got that 5th round wide receiver too, and he's supposed to be really good. So we'll see. Maybe he'll turn to another Diggs where he kind of comes out of nowhere. I can't remember who they drafted in the 5th round at this point.
Do you remember where he's from?
Nope. I can look it up though. Like the name does slip my mind as to.
It's not catchy enough yet. We don't know him yet.
It's kind of an interesting name.
I love a good balanced team. If you're balanced, I like it. It brings me peace of mind. Like, oh, okay, cool. We have options.
The Vikings drafted in the 5th round. I'm getting there right now. I'm on the 3rd round currently. They drafted a wide receiver. Oh, this guy here. They drafted a wide receiver from Iowa at the 157th overall. Eimer Smith-Marset. And they also.
I think we watched the highlights. Actually, I think we watched some of those.
We did
last week.
He was really good. And then in the 5th round, they also drafted a tight end in Zach Davidson from Central Missouri. So
I think out of your draft picks, who do you want to expect the most out of? Right away.
I expect the most out of our 2 to 3 offensive linemen that we picked up.
You think that just right off the bat, it's gonna feel different?
Oh yeah, because if Kirk Cousins could move the ball the way he can with a banged up offensive line for the past 2 years, he should easily be able to have some really good pocket time and make some really great throws. Because I just watched the highlight video of Kirk Cousins over the last few years today, and he actually made some amazing throws in Minnesota when he has time to throw, and even when he was under pressure. So
crucial.
I can't imagine what he's going to do with a good offensive line. So I expect the most out of the offensive line.
Did you get 2 offensive linemen?
2 for sure, maybe 3. I think they got
I hope Dalvin Cook pops off, man. He got so much potential.
Yeah, he's
one of the best. Be a legend. Yeah, Dalvin Cook's exciting. He's an all-star. Like, I would love to have him on my Charger squad. No disrespect to Austin Eckler, but he plays the kind of ball that I'm a fan of. He's a bell cow.
He's got that running style you like.
Yeah, just hard nose, and he's shifty. Another one, Alvin Kamara. I like his. He's shifty. He knows how to shake and bake a little bit.
So let's finish up these graphs here, and then we'll get into some fantasy advice, and and just kind of do a quick ending interview as to how you kind of operate when you're looking at your fantasy rosters and stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
So the final graphics here. This is considered to be the top 10 NFL players in 2021 per Pete Prisco. of the senior NFL columnist at CBS Sports. They're listing Patrick Mahomes at number 1. They're listing Aaron Donald at number 2, Aaron Rodgers at number 3, Tom Brady at number 4, Travis Kelce at 5. TJ Watt is sitting at number 6, so you get your first defensive player, or your second defensive player, being behind Aaron Donald. Devontae Adams at wide receiver in the 7th spot. Russell Wilson still sitting in the 8th spot. You get your third defensive player in the 9th spot at Myles Garrett, and then you get Josh Allen in the 10th spot at quarterback. I think this is actually a really good list. I love that it's not biased. I guess if I could throw anybody in here, the one person I would throw in here is probably Harrison Smith. I think he's one of the best safeties in the league. And I think he's going to have a good year because the Vikings have good corners again. So I think that's an exciting thing, is that we're going to get to see more safety play that he's used to, because he's not going to be having to do so much other coverage. He's going to actually get to play safety this year. So who would you pop in that list?
Let's see, a top 10. Who are we missing? How do you not have... Whoa, hold the phone. How do you not have a Christian McCaffrey up in there?
I think the reason he's probably not in there is the injury he had last year.
As in 2021, top 10 NFL players, and you don't think... Okay, so you don't think he's going to have a big 2021. You think that injury's still going to linger with him?
I think he will, but I don't know, like, what...
top 10?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Okay, boom. Here me hit you with this one. Derwyn James. He comes back a whole year off.
That's not a bad
He's
pick.
also a strong safety. But, I mean, as far as top 10 NFL players, I think he's going to claim his name back. And maybe as a Chargers fan, I'm only familiar with him. But it's big. We missed him for a whole year.
I know who you're talking about. I'm in an IDP league, so I know exactly who you're talking about.
And it sucks because he has... When he's on the field, it's a different ball game.
It is. I mean, you get those guys that can shut down everybody.
Yeah. Where do you want me, coach? I'm here to hit. Like, I love that for my team. You know, I'm glad we have a guy like Derwyn James. I would hate to lose him. I just hope he comes back, like, really just impacts the game.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I think he will.
We need that for our team. We need a defensive presence. We lost that when we lost him.
Speaking of defense. So the top 10 edge defenders and defense.
Oh, give me that's my kind of list. I like that.
This is your list, and then we have one more, and that's the final one, which is duos after this.
Top 10, I like that.
The top 10 edge defenders in the NFL currently, per Ben Lindsley, of Pro Football Focus. Number 1, you're sitting at Khalil Mack. Number 2, you're sitting at TJ Watt. So familiar face from the previous list. Number 3, you got your boy Joey Bosa. Number 4, you got Myles Garrett, back from the other list. You got
with that.
Number 5, you got Nick Bosa, so the brother. He'll be coming off an injury, so he'll be trying to get back.
He'll be
ready to have him back. Number 6 is Cameron Jordan. I would say I'd probably bump him down quite a bit, just because Cameron Jordan, I think he's kind of starting to go out of his prime, but he's still a really good player. And there's a lot of other guys
I think that last half is very interchangeable.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what I thought. DeMarcus Lawrence, I wouldn't know if I put him where he's at. Chase Young is right where he's at, I think, and then Shaq Barrett, I think he's got to be moved up. I've drafted Shaq Barrett or got him in fantasy the past few years, and he's a stud.
He's consistent.
And then having Danielle Hunter in that 10 spot, I'm guessing that's per injury. But Danielle Hunter, when he's healthy, he's one of the best edge defenders in the league. I think he should be up. I think he should be up almost where Nick Bosa's at, to be honest.
DeMarcus Lawrence, I don't feel your presence. I don't fear it at a ball game, sadly.
I mean, the Cowboys had I remember last year the Cowboys had one of the worst defenses in the league to the point where me and you talked about how if you have somebody playing the Cowboys defense, you start them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't okay. Chase Young, I could put Chase Young out there. I think he's a top 10. He's just a freaking monster. You only had a season of him. I don't think he's really But he gets there. As for such a young age,
He's a
he's
rookie.
gonna
He was a rookie last year, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, I expect big things out of Chase Young, up and coming.
I do too.
Um, I feel like maybe call me AFC bias, but I think Von Miller can easily be on that top 10.
Yeah,
Do you not say he's a top 10 edge rusher? He is the Broncos defense.
I would say maybe he was. I think Von Miller's a guy that is like kind of like on his way out too.
I do feel that too. I feel that.
But that's just me. But I mean, I think there's still a really good list. I think those defensive ends. I'm glad that Everson Griffin wasn't on there because he didn't do much of anything last year. And there's a lot of rumblings in Minnesota right now that he'll come back. That he might come back on a cheap deal to Minnesota. So it's tough to say. But you know what? If he does come back, here's the deal.
And you remember Prime JJ Watt? What? That dude was a monster.
Yeah, he was a beast.
A
Um,
monster.
hold up.
I love a good edge rusher. It's crucial. I think it's necessary to have. You win with them. You start up front. I wasn't doing it high enough. I'll learn. I'll get
Yeah,
into
I'll learn.
it.
I'll get you there.
Yeah, I'll get
Um,
there.
so for me, that like, if Everson Griffin came back, I'm sure we would love to have him back as a fan base, and um, I think we all kind of didn't want him to leave, but it's tough when these guys all want more money and the money's not there at the time. So I think him
What you
leaving the
got?
team showed that like he might not be like that great outside of that scheme, which is fine. The last thing we got is defensive end duos. Um, so
We
per
love to have them.
per Pro Football Focus, the,
Oh, look at this. I like this. I thought they were offensive.
so this is the defensive end duo, and there's a few familiar names that we just talked about actually. Um, so out of this group, we have J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Von Miller, Brandon Chubb, Cameron Jordan, and Davenport. I know Davenport's last name because the Vikings and Saints rivalry, but I don't know his first name to be honest with you.
Okay.
I need to
You
know
know
that.
more about him than I do.
He's a stud. You have Chase Young and Montez Sweat, Miles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, and Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. If I'm picking the best defensive end duo out of this list, I'm going Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. Where are you going?
Oh man, that's tough. Yeah, those dudes are nasty though.
It was a toss-up for me between Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul and Miles Garrett and Clowney.
I think Clown, we talked about this. Clowney's sometimes soft. You don't, he's not the game changer we thought. He takes plays off sometimes. As fans, we've observed this.
Yep.
We've observed this. We've talked about this. I don't think he's consistent, and that's why Barrett and Pierre-Paul outshine him in this list.
They were Barrett and Pierre-Paul were ridiculous, and I think
I hope it
that
works out though.
I think that Young and Sweat are going to be the up and comers in this group. These guys are young and they're good, and I mean they just have good teams around them right now. Like
Yeah.
the Washington football team they're moving in the right direction, and I can't wait to have Robbie on and talk about some of this. So before we finish up and go into the football conversation, the conversation on fantasy stuff, I just wanted to take just a quick minute and on more of a serious note. So I didn't mean to actually jump this on you, John, too. But you didn't know this until now. For those of you who know Rumboy's Robbie, he's been having a tough few days. His niece was killed in a car vehicle accident. She was hit by a tire or something like that.
Wow.
And she was really young. She thinks she was like 2 to 4 years old. So they are actually doing a funeral soon. Robbie's been having a pretty tough time with it. He's been very open and honest with his fans and viewers on social media. And he's a massive Washington football team, so I want to talk a little bit of Washington football team like we did just now. And just know I wanted Robbie to know, like, buddy, if you're listening, like, if you listen to this, we love you. We're here for you. If you need anything from us, you just let us know. I actually went ahead and on my Twitter, I shared the GoFundMe page. I donated $25. It wasn't much, but at this point, anything helps. They really need help financially for what is possibly going to be not just the funeral costs, but also they're looking at therapy costs too for the son. That was the older brother of the daughter. He was 17. He's 17 years old, and he hasn't been coming home and staying with the family because he's pretty traumatized by what happened, and he feels terrible. So I think they couldn't stop the tire or something like that with the vehicle. So he feels really bad, and they are factoring into that GoFundMe or for Robbie's family member, his sister and his brother-in-law, for therapy causes too. So Robbie, you're in our thoughts and prayers over in NerdsSportsZone. If you need anything from me, you can reach out on Twitter or Discord or whatever you need. Or text me if you want. Like, just let me know if you need to talk, man. So,
Shout out Robbie.
So shout out to Robbie, and reach out to me and John if you need anything. So I just wanted to take a minute for that. I told him I was going to do that in the Sports Me app. Do you got anything to say, John?
Hey, man, you always got a seat here. Always welcome here, man.
Yeah. Whether we're
thoughts, T's and P's for the family. I don't know them personally, but it's never easy losing a loved one. So, Robbie, if you ever need a seat, there's always a chair here for you.
It was really cool too because they actually, Robbie was live today when I was at work, and I was watching his. They were doing some fantasy baseball chatter with Fantasy Sven and a few other guys, and Sam's Hot Takes from Sports Me, a bunch of awesome guys. Yeah. And then someone started a baseball league, a fantasy base. I could be wrong on what league it was, but somebody started a fantasy baseball league in memory of Robbie's niece. So just keep the Run Boys Fantasy Network in your thoughts and prayers. Robbie doesn't take many days off from doing this. This is his full-time job. It's business for him. Hopefully someday for us too. And you're an inspiration to us, and just you're in the backs of our heads and our thoughts and prayers. So
that's it, man. Keep your head up. Yeah, it's gonna be all right.
Keep your head up, man. We love you. With that being said, let's get into some discussion about talking about fantasy football in honor of Robbie here tonight. So we've both done fantasy football for a little while, so and I don't think we've ever really gotten to talk too much about like our bios and like what made us get into it type of thing. So I'll just start there. Like, so with fantasy football, like, what made you start playing fantasy football, and how long have you been playing?
Oh man, I think we started playing back in like high school. Yeah, either the year after or it was early on though. I think Adrian Peterson was still a thing.
He was the number one guy.
Yeah, he was still a top pick. But I didn't know. But that's that was just kind of the talk of that was the thing you did if you watched football. You played fantasy, and I never play. There's always that virgin year, like you don't know what the heck you're doing, and you just going off a name value, and I don't know this guy, and you kind of just auto pick the rest that you don't. You just take a whim on it, but your first year, I think it just immerses you so much to storylines, other teams, situational. It brings another level of the game, and I've been doing with the same group of guys. That's my best friends. One of my best friends, his buddies from work started for Disneyland. So these are a bunch of Disney guys. I think they know sports. So majority of them, but they're competitive, and they win. And I haven't. I've gotten close, but I still haven't won my first title. So I'll hopefully get a first title coming up soon. I think I'm worthy of it. There's a lot that goes into it, and I love it. I love fantasy football. I eat, breathe, sleep this. I love the NFL. I love what it represents. Football is what I look forward to on Sundays. You know.
Yeah, I really like that answer too, because like for me, fantasy football is and always has been a way to do something with your friend even when they're not in the room, or like you can't hang out that often, and you're in a fantasy league together, and it seems like you always are able to like talk that smack to each other even though you haven't been hanging out because you both been busy or something. I've been playing fantasy football for. I'm gonna age myself here. I didn't play in high school. I didn't get back into football, I guess, immensely. I always stayed a Vikings fan my whole life, but I never got back into it until I think Brett Favre came to Minnesota. Yeah, Brett Favre came to Minnesota.
Wow, I remember that.
It was that or Christian Ponder. But I remember my dad and I, because my grandpa's a Packers fan, we would always stay up and we would watch the Green Bay Packers play whenever Brett Favre was playing. So Favre was one of those just guys that I think everybody loved to watch, and we always watched Brett Favre play because you just knew that there was just greatness behind that name. I mean, my dad and I watched the game where he played the Raiders after his dad passed away. Like, I remember that game. We watched a lot of games with Brett Favre, and he was just one of those guys that you like to watch. So, when I got near the end of high school, I really loved fantasy football because it was something to do with my friends, and I was really hesitant to get back into it because I didn't know what I was doing. And one of my friends just told me, he's like, it doesn't matter if you know what you're doing, it's fine, just go out and try. Like, you get, like you said, that virgin year of like not really knowing what you're doing, and like no, and there's that name factor. And I remember I did terrible, like that was before I even was in a league consistently year after year. I did like 1 year and then took like another 3 years off because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I drafted like all Vikings players. It was like the stupidest thing you could do. Like
100%. I drafted every Charger I knew.
like he was like, you had that fandom. I was that guy in the fantasy league that drafted everybody from their team. Like you were loyal. You were too loyal to your team, which made your fantasy team not that great.
It wasn't bad though. If you, let me talk. Let me see. I had Gates as the tight end. LT as a running back. Phillip Rivers as a quarterback. Michael Floyd. M80 running up and down. Vincent Jackson.
So like
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was a good time though.
It wasn't bad, but like it was bad because if your fantasy roster played all at Sunday at noon, your week was just screwed.
And if your team lost, more than likely you lost.
So for me, I've been playing fantasy for probably since I've won 3 out of 6 years. The worst place I've taken in the other league, in the Yahoo League, is technically 5th, but I actually should have taken 2nd last year because they cheated me out of playoffs. I've said that a few times.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah,
let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
But I should
news, right? Looking forward.
Right.
On to Cincinnati.
So technically the worst I've ever taken is 3rd place. And I won 2 years in a row leading up until this year, when all that stuff happened. And then we did our first streamer league together, and we need 2 spots. I think I have one filled with Sleight of Game. I think he's in, and then I think Normcore Eddie might be in, so we might have 2 guys ready to come in and just like add them into the group chat.
Get it.
And be back at a full 10. But last year was crazy because John actually we do a 2-week playoff format in this league, and what happens in that
Yes,
if
I
you
guess I get all my eggs in the first week, and I didn't plan for that I didn't know. I didn't know.
I messaged John after the first week. I said you absolutely crushed me. Like I didn't stand a chance going into the next week, and
I really did.
and I really didn't. And it was insane the comeback that happened. So I moved up into the finals, and I mean you're looking at two of the top guys that were in the finals last year.
And I think you won by a pretty large margin that second week. Like, it wasn't just a
Yeah, it was a
mere
butt
I
whooping.
creeped past you. Yeah, your team really showed up week 2.
It was insane. I honestly couldn't believe how well they showed up. This is kind of what it was, you know.
That's a good old-fashioned.
I think Dalvin Cook. Yeah, there it is. I think Dalvin Cook was just having monster games.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook was back. He was healthy. He was playing some ridiculous monster games, and it just worked out. So that's how long I've been playing. So, the next question is, how do you normally draft a team? Like without giving all your secrets away.
No, that's cool. I'll give him all away because guess what? It doesn't work for me, so I never win. You can't take anything away from me. Use it as you will.
I'm gonna change it up anyways.
That's it. So, all right, I start like I said, the NFL season for me never ends.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as the season ends, I'm already waiting for the next moment to what's gonna spark the NFL. I love the NFL. I'm always listening to podcasts and all that, but I stay in tune. I don't have any like TVs. I don't have any like subscriptions for sports, sadly. But I always like, when I did have it, I watched the NFL Network. NFL Network was big for me. I'm a huge fan of it. I love the watching the morning news, like making my cup of coffee, just listening. So, and I'll listen to that. I stay in tune. Podcasts. I'm big. Used to commute a lot, like an hour a day. I would get a lot of listening done. One of my favorite podcasts is the NFL Fantasy Podcast. I love we talked with Robbie about it. Yeah, we talked with Robbie with it, and he had Marcus Grant, one of my big inspirations. I like Marcus Grant. There's a local guy out here. He's on the NFL Network, and it gives you hope. I love listening to like the podcast from them. Fantasy advice. ESPN does a solid podcast, so that's how I stay in tune of my draft ideas. I'll listen to them, and it gets my brain going, gets my brain thinking. But usually, if I had to start out, I am a believer in running backs. If I'm drafting, I am looking for a running back depth. I'm looking for a bell cow. I'm not looking for a share field. I don't want that guy. If you're sharing a field, if you're a split back, kind of like last year was big for me. I actually took that dive with Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, yeah, and it benefited. But it's something I usually don't advise to do. But with certain guys like that, you have to. It's, someone goes down, you got to have that backup. You saw what happened when Saquon goes down. Yeah, your backup's Wayne Gallman. That's not the same. So I'm usually a running back, depending where I draft second. If what depends what it's looking like. Is wide receiver scarce, or do I go with another one? I have to play the field. I have to play. It's live.
Mm-hmm.
It all. You may have a game plan going in, but someone sometimes is gonna throw a wrench in there. It's gonna throw up your game plan.
Yeah,
I agree. Be able to just go ahead. What do you look at? When your top, your first pick? What are you looking at?
Well, the biggest thing I always tell everybody is to ignore the magazines. Those are a gimmick. I buy a magazine so that I can look at a list of guys, and this is the only reason I buy the magazines, because that when you start drafting, there's a wrench that's going to be thrown into what's going on with what you had on paper. You're never going to get what you had on paper. It's just the way fantasy works.
And I love it.
And if you watch football enough, you're gonna know who those guys are like that you should pick next. And if you're learning, you'll know who you should pick next, because those magazines are the best thing in a way to help you find like the next guy, but don't be so dependent on it, because here's the thing: is you have to factor in what type of league you're in. So are you in?
It depends,
Are you in a PPR league? Are you like, what are you gonna need? Like, PPR means points per reception. So you might get 1 point every 10 yards, but you also might get 1 point every catch. So I mean, you could get a receiver on your squad, which happens all the time, that this guy had the ball thrown to him 12 times, which is a lot of points in fantasy for a wide receiver by itself. And that might be just off of catches. Now you got to factor in the touchdowns, which is 6. Then you got to factor in the yards, which is 1 point per every 10 yards. So now you're talking that receiver, if he's getting thrown to a lot because it's just the way the offense works, that's a 30-point game. And
love it.
I love those pass catching backs.
Oh, love them, love them.
Those guys are money in fantasy. Like,
give me a couple names. Give me a couple names.
Christian McCaffrey.
Ooh,
Derrick Henry.
one of the best. I feel like Derrick Henry. He's not as good of a catcher. Do you think he's a good catcher?
I think
he can be better.
Dalvin Cook's more of a pass catcher than he is.
Yeah, he's very nice. Like,
He's
I
good
love
for screens.
The Chargers had some pretty good pass catchers, running backs in the past. We got one of my favorites, Danny Woodhead.
He's great.
One of my favorite NFL players, Danny Woodhead.
That's a good name.
PPR Gold.
PPR Gold, and then you had AP was just a monster. Like, you would, if you weren't in a PPR, like, you could get him. But so we don't get off topic.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. Like, for me, I'm looking at what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is because if I have something thrown in my way, I'm not going to let somebody else's decision in that draft shake me up and get me all nervous, because that's what they're trying to do. Because here's the thing: there's always going to be somebody else on that board available that is going to be available for you to get. And you may have another position to fill. Okay, that's fine. So you planned, like, I always like to start most of my drafts off with key positions that are probably going to go faster than the other. I do that every draft. Like, and then I gauge the rest of the league and what they're doing, and like, okay, quarterbacks are gone now. Okay, wide receivers are gone now. Like, or we're running backs are going now. Like, and that's where I gauge that from. And like, so I don't just gauge off of who's going when. I gauge off of what pick I have, because most drafts are snake drafts.
Yeah.
So
I love that late spot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's a fun spot to be in.
So I mean, I think in our stream league, I was in the I was in like the 8th spot out of 10. So
but it's all priority.
It was literally
it's all
like
personal preference.
Right. It was literally 2 or 3 picks between my next pick most of the time, and then one long wait, and then 3 picks between that pick. So one thing you got to factor in is okay, where am I at right now in the order? What do I need? And what's been taken? And it's just simplifying your draft and like constantly keeping the gears turning in your head the entire time if somebody goes off the board, listening to who picked what. So that's kind of what I'm doing on my end, without giving out all my secrets on anything. I have a few other secrets that I'm not really willing to give up, as we all do. Like that. There's certain things I look for on paper when I have my stuff written down.
And that's important, like something I think I'm lacking, where an area I can improve upon drafting is recognition of, ease of schedule. Who's going to have an easier schedule down the line? Yeah, I feel like I don't pay enough attention to players that I draft strength of schedule.
Right.
Or their bye weeks. I feel like I can improve on bye week, coming up with when people are going to go away. I can plan for that better. But I know there's room for improvement upon drafting. And I think every year you kind of learn something, And that's the beauty of it.
So, like, one thing I wanted to talk about, too, and see what your thoughts are on it, is like, it's not even a segment or anything. I was just going to call it Big Names, Big Whoop. Because here's the thing. A lot of people that play fantasy football will see a big name. And like a prime example of last year was Julio Jones. you see that name on paper and you're like, that's a tough receiver. He's a stud. But
Yeah.
then you look at and you're like, I'm gonna draft that guy. And when you draft that guy, here's the thing that happens in the year like last year. He's transitioning out of Atlanta. Like he just was last year. Like they were using Calvin Ridley. They couldn't really get the ball to Julio as much as they normally did. And he's a big deep threat, like no doubt. But things just weren't working for Julio in Atlanta anymore, and he's one of those guys that's a big name. So what happens mid-season is people have like this romance with these big name players on their roster, and like I can't get rid of this guy. I can't drop Julio Jones. Are you serious? Listen to that. Like
Right.
that sounds
Right.
crazy. Like why would I drop Julio Jones for like Chase Claypool? You know? Because Chase Claypool's young. Like he's a new guy. Like I don't know anything about him. But sometimes getting those new guys and that are young and new offense, and that are in that rebuild mode, especially depending on the type of league you're in, those guys might get you the most points. That's just the way it works. Like when you're post draft, you're in the season, and you have a tough loss one week, change things up a little bit. Like don't be afraid to offer some trades to people. Don't be afraid to,
People don't like to trade, man. I don't know why it is, but I always have a hard time trading.
like I know I do too, but like if the trade is right and it's fair, like I mean, negotiate with someone. Say, okay,
Yeah.
I looked at your roster, and I did this with John a couple times last year when we were playing, even though we were enemies. I looked at his roster and I said, hey, I got a running back on my bench that I don't use because I don't need. You have a running back on your starting roster who's not very good, and I need a wide receiver because I'm a little weak in that area, and you have a wide receiver on your bench that's a stud that you're not using and you haven't used in like 4 weeks.
Be like that.
Maybe we can go wide receiver for running back and we can make that trade, And
Yeah.
these are big names going, like swapping over. And
Robert Woods, Cooper Cup. I'm a big fan of those guys, and I somehow always end up with them. And one guy, you can't play them all. Someone's got to sit on your bench.
So there's that. Like I wanted to kind of bring that into play too. And the final thing in that we'll just like leave it at is fandom failure. We talked a little bit about it to start, but to get more in depth on it, is that as a fan in fantasy football, you love to draft players from your team, right?
That's it.
You love to get Vikings players. You love to get
Why
Chargers players.
wouldn't you?
You know what I mean? But like, that's actually the worst thing you can do for yourself, because here's why. And I said it as a joke earlier, but it was actually totally serious. Where like if you draft your whole team based off of your favorite football team in the NFL, your matchup is over after one game. And realistically, you should be trying to spread your roster throughout all 32 teams in the NFL at specific skill spots, especially like in IDP leagues too, because then you can actually go ahead and well, I got this guy going Thursday night. I can get a little bit of a lead. I can go into Saturday Night Football when the playoffs are coming around. I can get some Sunday points. I can get some Sunday night points. And then I always try, and this is a secret I'm always willing to give away, is I'm always willing to have somebody playing on Monday Night Football in case I need that comeback.
Right.
Or
yeah.
Or in case I need to keep that lead. Like, what are your thoughts on the football on the Fandom Failure?
I like having a balanced schedule as well as, having some early games, mid games. But you can easily get caught up in the Fandom Failure because if your team fails, like more than likely you're going to lose that week. And it sucks knowing that just because your team lost, you lost.
Yep.
There is a guy in my league that I should play with, and we just bumped the ante for that league for $100. So here we go. He's a Tampa Bay fan. You know what? But guess what? He gets to the playoffs. He drafts heavy Tampa Bay fandoms. He'll take the Fournettes. Before Tom Brady was there, he was taking the Fournettes. He was taking the Mike Evans, the Chris Godwin, and he's doing relatively all right. So I hear what you're saying about not drafting your entire team, which I would never recommend. It's just bad news. I like having a team throughout the, like I said, I like having a team throughout the spread of the week.
Yeah, I like that. What other advice you got off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, advice is, I don't like to go. Dang, see, I can't even say that because there's exceptions. You really gotta feel the room out. Because if everyone's drafting a quarterback early, you better grab a quarterback because you don't want to be that guy
Yep.
without one.
You got to read the room.
You gotta read the room. And one year there was that rookie who hopped in and she took Drew Brees with her first pick, and I was like, oh crap, this threw off everyone's game plan. No one expected the Drew Brees to go to first round, and then who she take second? She probably took the wide receiver, And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, 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 what is going on here? Because everyone panicked. She was the wrench that threw off everyone's ball game.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Shout out to Allison. That the Saints always end up losing. Everyone will talk to her because she's a Saints fan. She does that fandom stuff. She does that. Look at that. It's a real thing. And guess what? She's usually the one I'm throwing bait out there too. Like, hey, your team sucks right now. You need a little more love. Let me get that. Let me get that Cook off your. What's his name? The Michael. Let me get that Michael Thomas off your hands. You can take a wide receiver and a running back because you didn't draft for that. So I'm there, but give me that star player you're not using right.
So
yeah.
So
Look,
the next thing
people like me.
the final thing that will end on, and then we'll close out for socials and everything.
Yes.
Is injury freak out.
You gotta prepare.
So here's the deal. You want depth on your rosters, and in case injuries happen. COVID showed us that last year. COVID was really hard. I don't know if that's really going to be going away this year, obviously, with COVID. I don't see it being completely gone. So it's something to keep in the back of your head. But if you have a player go down to COVID, if you have a player go down to an injury, do not freak out. Here's what you do. You have your little mini freak out session, because we all do. You go, okay, well, what am I going to do? Who am I going to pick up? Who's available? And after you have about 5 minutes of just kind of your brain scattered, really slow down, dial down on who is available, and go through that list over and over and over again, and look for consistency. Look for news articles all week. Make sure you're subscribed to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport and all these guys on Twitter, because you will have news headlines. I don't have cable at my house, and I mean I won the trophy last year. It's in my trophy case back here. The thing with it is that you can't freak out when a player goes down. You have to move on. It's especially if
you have to respond. You got to respond.
Especially if it's a season ender. That's the thing. Like what John's saying is you have to respond, and you don't respond with a panic attack and just pick somebody up. You respond with a strategical pick of who you need at that time. Okay, you had a running back go down. You lost Saquon Barkley last year. This happened to my girlfriend. Okay, let's go get you his replacement to start. And then let's look down, so you have somebody. And then throughout the week, let's look at the list of running backs that are available. Let's look at their points. Let's look at the average per week. Let's look at all these things, and let's make this team back to what it was. And sometimes, I'll be completely honest, those injuries can kill the rest of your season, because
absolutely
you're never going to get the same point output as those other guys, but you're not going to do yourself any favors if you don't try. If you just have that freak out moment. So in terms of fantasy football, for the injury freak out, you can't panic. You just got to be patient, and you got to look around. What's your advice on that?
Don't give up. Please don't be that person that gives up. Give me a fighting chance. Don't lose hope. I'll help you build your team back up. If you're in our league, there's nothing worse than going up against someone who didn't plug in their players because they gave up, because they're not enjoying having a good time. We're here to have a good time. You want an honest and competitive matchup, I will help you. But just please don't be that person who gives up.
Yeah, I've had a few of them too, where you're like, why are you quitting? what like
Yeah,
I know it sucks. Like, and John knows last year, like I had a lot of guys go down at the wrong time. Like,
I once went 0-9. All right, I never gave up. I
I
didn't
mean,
get last, but I.
I mean, literally in our streamer league last year, we had so many competitive guys in that league, and everyone was active and changing their rosters and doing what they could. And the thing with it was is that you just you there was no one that would quit, and it it can be discouraging to look at your records sometimes and go, man, I am like doing terrible this year. But the thing is that that's just fantasy. Like, you could be doing terrible on record wise, but I've seen people. It happened to my girlfriend this last year. She lost like 6 matchups by like less than 2 points. In fantasy, that's nothing. That's like one play in a Monday night game to finish the
That's
week.
one catch. That's one catch.
It's one catch plus yards. It's one run that's like 25 yards, 2.5 points. Like, it's nothing that you need to freak out about. If you're in an IDP league, that's 1 to 2 tackles with a starting defensive end that you got in the field in the final drive of the game. Like, you're or an interception or a sack. Like, you aren't out of those matchups unless you put yourself out of those matchups because you're discouraged and you don't work on your team. And a lot of people will say, well, that's too much time and effort. Well, it's literally like when you're on break at work. Like, I don't think, I can honestly tell you, I think that, like, I just have my phone on me and I'm looking for news articles and stuff for like 20 minutes when I get home. If I go to the bathroom or something like that, I check my phone real quick to see if there's anything or if there's anyone available, like if I can work something out. It's more of a thing where, like, you're not spending all day doing it. Like, but you'll find something if you just, like, take the blinders off of panic and just look around. So, I guess that's some of the best fantasy football advice I can give out at this time. And then we can think of some more subjects to really cover going into the next time we record. Because I want to move this thing in a direction where it's not just headlines, but, like, we're getting close to the draft, and people are going to be drafting all over the world.
Let's start prepping. Let's start prepping. You got questions, we got answers.
Yep. So if you guys have questions, shoot them in the Discord, shoot them in Twitter.
Anywhere you want.
Share the podcast with your friends. And then I'm going to just take a quick minute to thank some sponsors for the stream. And then we'll close out here with our socials, and we'll let you know where you can find us. So the first sponsor I want to thank is Raise Energy. They have really great energy drinks that are in cans or to-go packets. You will get 15% off your work order at that link in the chat. And here's the deal: is they have all really great flavors. There's 0 carbs, calories, or artificial dyes. There's no crash. They have like this. They have a slow reduction technology of where you're just gonna go back to a normal level of energy. You can drink them during your workout or after your workout. They also sell Recuv 7, which is a BCAA amino acid, so you can take that when you're working out. And they have whey proteins. They have really good pre-workouts that'll give you just the right amount of energy. So check out Raise Energy. You'll get 15% off on your order at that. If you like coffee, while we're still on energy, check out Player One Coffee. They have amazing coffee flavors that are all video game based themes. For those of you who don't know, I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. John plays a lot of Call of Duty as well. Check out Player One Coffee. They have one called it's like a first person shooter based name. It's called First Person Smoother. That's a coffee flavor. They have anywhere from light, medium, and dark roast coffee for gamers all over the world. So go ahead and check that out. And if you are a streamer yourself and you're looking to revamp your layout, go ahead and check out Nerd or Die. If you select that link in the chat, you'll get 20% off on your next stream layout. This is where I bought mine. It's a really great website, and you'll get 20% off on your next theme. And they're very easy to input and get things going. So check out Nerd or Die. With that being said, we'll do a small little raid out on somebody. I think we'll do a tradition and do a double raid on someone.
Yeah.
Let's see who's live. actually.
You let me know.
Let me go to Twitch here and see who we're looking at. Let's go to Normcore Gaming. They're actually playing some Final Fantasy VII, and we'll invite Eddie to come and hang out. Let's go to Normcore Gaming. They're actually playing some Final Fantasy VII, and we'll invite Eddie. We'll invite Eddie to our league, because I know that they were talking about wanting to join. So.
See, that's good.
So Normcore, they're playing Final Fantasy VII, and they're a really awesome couple. So we'll rate out on those guys. You guys will like them a lot. So with that being said, I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for hanging out. If you have any questions on your fantasy football rosters, if you have anything going forward into the future of what we're going to be doing, reach out. We're going to be transitioning to still doing a little bit of headlines and still doing some fantasy football advice, if you're okay with that, John. Kind of going off the fly right now, but if you're cool with that, I am. So,
which one?
Just transitioning the podcast into being more information based and talking about some headlines and stuff for a little bit, and then and then talking about certain like advice tips for football. Fantasy football.
You already know that. I'm all about the help. Let's just start talking draft, man. Draft is here.
I like it. Also, I didn't show this off. I'm wearing an Audience of One hat from the Carson Wentz Foundation. He's now an Indianapolis Colt. If you go to that awesome store, all the proceeds go to an amazing foundation and what Carson Wentz is doing for Lord. So if you are religious or not religious, the money does go to a great cause, and he does help a lot of like people in need and countries in need, and he does mission trips and everything. So go check out Audience of One. That's the logo right there, and they have them in blue Colts colors, and they have them in Philly colors, and this is the NDSU colors from NDSU. But on that note, we'll see you guys later.
Peace out.
Bye.